Okay, good day YouTube. This is a quick video. Having played Marvel Rivals for more than half a year, I just like to make a very quick video to have a brief take on my favorite character, which is none other than Squirrel Girl. She's very easy to use, very straightforward, and very satisfying in a lot of situations. Now, Squirrel Girl is essentially a DPS, but very quickly you would realize that she's not so effective when she's so too close to the enemy front line. She's not very effective when she's too far away from the opponents as well, and of course against flyers she's not that great. So playing Squirrel Girl at its most effective is when you keep a certain safety distance from your opponents, and most of them are on the ground and they are clustered together, and that is where you do the most amount of damage. She's unpredictable, she's very mobile, and actually she packs a punch in all her attacks, right? Very quickly, let us go into what she can do. She can ambush isolated clusters of enemies if they are, like, hiding in corners like healers and everybody in the backline. You can take them out because your trajectory is not linear. It can bounce off surfaces. You apply pressure onto both the front line and the back line of your opponents as well, just by spamming from a safety distance. And more importantly, right, when you start to spam, you will start to notice your opponents, their team formations will get disrupted. Essentially, if your opponents cluster together, particularly in a linear fashion, and you're like this mega artillery firer from afar, right, very quickly they realize that they cannot stay close together. They have to disperse. They start to get a little bit chaotic, and that is where the DPS and the tanks on your side can take advantage of the chaos and the madness that you have applied onto the opponents. The abilities of Squirrel Girl, I don't think I need to go really into detail. I think it's no secret. Anybody who plays it is actually very transparent. You'll be spamming your left mouse button like there's no tomorrow. You'll use your right click button, or in my case the E button, the special button as well, to create snares to trap opponents and ground them, where I can then continue to shoot my left mouse button at them. And of course, the tailspin leap is extremely useful to get out of sticky situations. Also, by jumping into the air and launching missiles down, you will be at an advantage to deal damage onto your opponents that are on the ground. So this is one particular pro tip: always go for the high ground, because gravity will then be on your side. The tailspin leap of course gets you out of several sticky situations as well. So if you find that you get gangbang left, right, center from opponents, this is probably your last resort to get out of harm's way and hope for the best. And actually, the best part of using Squirrel Girl is the ultimate, because the ultimate supercharge your squirrels, and then they go forward like a force of nature and a flood towards the opponents. You want to time your ultimate in a situation where your opponents are actually clustered, again linearly, and then when you launch your ultimate, try to do so from a higher ground. If you are not able to do so, then you tailspin leap, or you just do a jump so that you launch down, right? Now, what I would actually recommend is for you to use your ultimate first and then quickly follow up with all the functions that you have to make your opponents stay on the ground and lose their mobility. This of course includes using your right mouse button and the E special button. Once your opponents are grounded, your rodent damage would then be able to hit them. They would not be able to avoid it, and that is the way to go forward. Alright, so yep, stick to the high ground. Focus on the supports and the squishies. Try not to waste your nuts on the opponent tanks, although once in a while, if you keep applying pressure on the tanks, it can help your team as well. So you just see the situation and then you proceed. Use your squirrels to block choke points and store payloads. Generally, when there are bottlenecks, you find a good spot where you can just keep spamming your nuts, and then the opponents will find it very, very difficult to push through, and they have to use your tanks, and that can help store time for your teammates if they were to die, to respawn, to come back to the choke points again, right? So this is Squirrel Girl at its best, when she's annoying, when she disrupts the enemy rhythm and the momentum, and it makes her very hard to deal with. So team synergy wise, pair her up with tanks like the Hawk or the Groot to absorb pressure, while healers like Scarlet Witch can keep you alive while you take risky dives, and of course with controllers like the Storm, she can lock down enemies for your squirrels to munch. So to succeed as Squirrel Girl, right, actually it's very easy. Basically just be relentless, be a pest. find places where you can cause the absolute greatest amounts of damage and be the biggest nuisance that you can be, right? Be unpredictable, be always on the move, be mobile so that they cannot nail you down and know exactly where you are raining your nuts down on. And then be bold, be smart, let your squirrels do its thing. And I wish you all the best in your next endeavor and your next match. Alright, thank you for your time. See you in the next video, guys, and goodbye.